I know this comes as a surprise to some people, but Bible-thumping wingnut is an idiot. Matt Dillahunty made a video that is brilliant. The case against Christianity. I'll just play a little bit for you.
Is there sufficient evidence to believe in the God of the Bible? Once upon a time, there was a rationally justified belief that the sun orbits the earth. It's one of the clearest examples I can think of where a position was both rationally justified based on the available information and understanding at the time, and yet ultimately false. Even those who might hypothesize that the earth was spinning initially had no foundation for arguing this. You could look up and see the sun moving across the sky. We could observe what happens when you spin objects. Why didn't we fly off? And with no understanding of gravity, the universe looked very different. Ultimately, we realized that this position wasn't rationally justified, and then we realized that it was simply wrong. We had a belief, we investigated, we learned that we simply didn't have good reasons to think it was true, and then we reached a model that demonstrated it was false. That hasn't stopped people from arguing for a geocentric universe. Even to this day, there's a new film out that argues on behalf of this position again. But when it comes to the claim that a God exists, or that the God of the Bible exists, as we're debating today, I'm not convinced that belief was ever rationally justified, but I'd argue that it certainly isn't rationally justified today, even if we never reach the point where we have a clear model that demonstrates that it's false. There's a default position when we're talking about rational beliefs. Do you believe every claim until it's proved false, or do you disbelieve, withholding your acceptance of the proposition until it's demonstrated that you're rationally justified to accept it? The former puts us in the position of believing contradictory claims, forcing a state of cognitive dissonance and potentially inhibiting the exploration that might uncover the truth. After all, if you believe God's responsible for the diversity of life, you might never discover that evolution serves not only as a naturalistic explanation, but it's sufficient to the task without requiring a God. It doesn't violate any laws of nature. The latter, withholding belief until it's justified, encourages discovery and puts us in a better position to ensure that our internal model of reality maps as accurately as possible to reality. It's worth noting that there's a difference between I do not believe X and I believe X is false, or I believe not X. This is a distinction that Eric and I have had difficulty discussing in the past. In a trial, the claim is that the defendant is guilty. If I say I do not believe that the defendant is guilty, that doesn't mean that I am convinced that the defendant is innocent. That's a separate proposition of which I need to be convinced. In the case of all gods, I find them not guilty of existing, in part because it's the default position, and in part because I've not been presented with sufficient evidence to accept that they exist. In the case of the many versions of the God of the Bible, I also find them not guilty of existing, and there are quite a few that I would probably also find innocent, because they are self-contradictory, or because they are in direct conflict with what we understand about reality.
It's a very good video. It's very well thought out. He makes excellent points. Almost the first post in response, clearly the person who is the subject of my video stalks Matt Dillahunty. Probably had a bad experience. Maybe he wasn't giving enough attention as he thought he deserved by Matt Dillahunty. Anyway, the first thing he writes, without, I suspect, even bothering to watch Matt's video. I could wager all the money in the bank that I have right now, which wouldn't be much, but it's, you know, it's dear to me that this bozo never bothered to watch the video. He writes, are there any free-thinking, skeptical, truth-seeking atheists? Is there even one atheist with an ounce of integrity that will point out how many logical fallacies Matt puts forth in this opening statement? Is there anyone who will coach Matt on how to debate before he is utterly exposed on May 31st? I think not. You all will turn off your reasoning and congratulate Matt on a job well done. This is embarrassing. He has a funny way of insulting people. You notice? He doesn't just say, I think you're a jerk. He insults in a real subtle ways. For me, he never acknowledges me as a human being. He never responds to any points I make. He just has it so sure that I have a crush on him and I have an obsession with him. that's what he writes. Oh, Diane, you're looking better now. Like, what was I looking like before, you fucking ass? Anyway, I'm sorry. He is an ass. And this is what I think. And I wrote it. In fact, I'll read what I wrote. I wrote a couple things to this piece of shit. I'm sorry, but he is like the lowest piece of shit on YouTube. Everything he writes is just sarcastic and arrogant and prideful and boasting and self-glorifying bullshit. It's like he is like the give me attention all the time, and he's a troll. He will say things deliberately to piss people off. Anyway, I posted today. I was at work, so I could only post short little comments. I posted several comments to several people. He decided that all the comments I posted were for him. First, he accuses me of posting, I think he said 7, and he told me I should get over him. And then I posted a couple more comments. I think 1 or 2 were for him. The rest were for other people. Then he comes back and says that I've posted 10 and that I really should get over him. I counted them. No, I did not post 10 to this piece of shit. I was talking to other people, but I guess it's all about him, right? It must all be about him. So I'm not going to repeat all the shit that he wrote. I told him to fuck off, basically. And then I told him, are you not at all concerned that you produce this kind of rage in people? This is not what Christianity is about. This is not, assuming this Jesus ever lived, which I don't believe, but let's just assume for a moment he did. And the old Christianity that I remember was about accepting people, loving people, not so much witnessing constantly and shoving it down their throats, but just living as an example, making people want to come to you and say, wow, what do you have that I don't have? I want to be happy like you. That's kind of the Christianity I was raised up to believe in. You walk the walk and you live it, and you accept people as they are, and whether or not you agree with them, that's kind of how, and it was all about showing Jesus's love for other people. I know it's vomit worthy right there, but I'm just saying what I believed, what I thought Christianity was. Supporting people, showing love and acceptance and humility, being humble, putting other people ahead of yourself, putting other people's needs above your own. This is what I thought Christianity was. This person is an embarrassment. I really think that this person and people like him are more than atheism killing Christianity, because there's very little in its favor. The proof isn't there. There's no evidence to prove it, that any of it's true. And more people are coming to realize that. And so, what is there left? The Bible is wrong. Everybody knows it. So what is there left? The Christians. They look at the Christians. And what do we see on YouTube? I mean, some people, like myself, actually know actual Christians, and they're nice people. But some people, if they're just looking online, they're just going to see dickwads like this asshole. Oh, I have to read something. When I said fuck you to him, oh, where is it? I gotta find this comment. It's so funny. The first thing I said to him really was fuck you, because I had written something to him, and I wrote, I'll just read the thread if I could find it. God, he's such an ass. Oh, this is in response to his note about how it's embarrassing that we're all just going to think that Matt is wonderful and somebody on my deck. Anyway, and I wrote back, Matt's rescue? Don't flatter yourself. All you've done if make some, I guess I wasn't writing well that day, if make some incoherent comments that hardly amount to anything. Oh, I didn't write that one. I'm reading somebody else's comment. Okay, he wrote that. Somebody else wrote that. Somebody named Darksty wrote that. I wrote, no, you are embarrassing. You come up with word games to keep from arguing like a grown-up person with an ounce of actual integrity. I got 3 likes on that comment, by the way. He writes back, rather than addressing what I just said, which he never does, he writes, thanks for answering my question. You are looking better, which must mean I was looking pretty hideous there because I'm looking better now. I wrote, fuck you. Because it's like, this is so typical. No matter what I write, I make a point. He never responds to me like I'm an equal. I'm always something. It's like, this has to be the biggest sexist bastard on the internet. I'm sure there's actually worse. But, you know, this is how the religion teaches women don't have an opinion. We don't have a brain. We're breeding stock, and that's how he treats women. At least that's how he treats me. So I said, fuck you. And then I wrote, thank you for proving yourself to be the low-life troll that you are. And yes, horrors, I said fuck you. I rarely ever stoop so low. In fact, honestly, I can't remember ever saying that to somebody, but I'm sure I have in the past. But you are the biggest asshole I have ever encountered on YouTube, so you deserve it. This is what he writes back. Are you ready? No need to apologies, D. Your foul potty mouth doesn't offend at all. He actually used the term potty mouth. Have you noticed how old this guy is? He used the term potty mouth. Your foul potty mouth doesn't offend me at all. I know it is not me you hate, but God. But the God you suppress in your unrighteousness. Yes, that same unrighteousness that manifests itself as you address me with your nasty mouth. You know what? There's no such thing as God. I can't hate something that doesn't exist. But of course, you're so amazingly arrogant that you presume to think that you know what other people believe and don't believe. Why? Ooh, let me think. Why could that be? Oh, it's because a sentence in a book says, and you've just decided that that's just the way it is. Everybody believes in this thing, whether they even know it or not. God, how arrogant. But anyway, so back on to my little thing. Let's see, what else? There's a lot of things in this thread, but I'm not going to read it all. Just me thing. It's all about me. I want to get to the point of what I said. Okay, so a bunch of stuff, da-da-da-da-da. I wrote to somebody, he's also the most sexist, arrogant piece of shit I've ever encountered on YouTube. Honestly, if I read today he died in some horrific car crash, I would feel not one fleeting second of sadness. Isn't that sad? Can you imagine a stranger that you don't even know bringing you to that point? I think I'm a pretty decent person, and for me to say something like that, wow, you know, it would be the ending of another roach like Fred Phelps. This man is the personification of the poison this cult creates. Notice I say it is a walking testimony of why we need to do everything in our power to battle the society crippling infestation and drive it from the earth. Christianity is as foul as Islam, both equally as invasive, equally a threat to peace, progress, and sanity. Of course, let's see. Does he write me back? Does he make any comments? No. So then I write to somebody else. Somebody else mentioned the potty mouth comment. So I wrote to that somebody else. A grown adult has used the term potty mouth to another grown adult? That's just scary. This is a personality I would not let anywhere near young children. Then I wrote to somebody else, he is a troll. Hey, maybe if I'm really lucky, he'll make another vid about how I am obsessed with him. As a response to me, simply trying to say why he's wrong. And then I wrote to somebody else, you would expect more from a better... Actually, I was talking about Richard Raspberry in this comment. Somebody wrote a comment to Richard Raspberry, who I think he's he's British or Australian or something. You would expect more from a better educated non-American, wouldn't you? And then I did write to the twit, I can't hate, or to Bible thumping wingnut, I can't hate the imaginary, you arrogant twit. And then another one that I wrote to him. So this is now two, since he told me that I believe in the imaginary and that I have a potty mouth. So this is number 2. Actually, I believe I am fairly righteous. I don't use deception and word games to weasel out of an honest conversation. The fact your slimy tactics cause others to feel such rage only shows you do not spread the fictional Jesus' love as Christians are called to do, but pure poison. You, sir, are as counterfeit as Christians come. Now, notice the next thing he writes, Deity Free D, 7 comments in a 4-hour time block. Come on, D, get over me. You have so many other things you could be doing in your short life before Judgment Day. So let's see, I made 2 comments to him and he says I made 7. Interesting. So then Jesus F. Christ writes, Bible thumping wingnut, are you a little stupid? Okay, so here's number 3, my comment to him, number 3. This thinker doesn't want to stand up. Again, you don't bother responding to anything I say, but resort to sarcasm and insults like the sexist ass that you are. I do hope you learn how to be a grown-up person before your eternity rotting in the ground. And then I wrote to the guy who said, are you a little bit stupid, to Bible thumping wingnut? I wrote him, yeah, think. And then I wrote to Bible thumping wingnut, so now we're on number 4. Most of those comments were not directed at you. Conceited much? And then somebody wrote me and said, Deity Free D, it is not so much scary as sophomoric and funny. Interesting that he objects to potty mouth, but doesn't seem to mind his serial misrepresentations bordering on lying, his pontificating and presuppositional claptrap, and relying on set and staged answers to questions he himself cannot answer. If it wasn't for Buggencat, half of the apologists on the internet couldn't find their arses with both hands. This is the front guard of Christianity on the net. They have lost and don't even know it. Okay, so we're still at 4 to him. And now he writes back and says, 10 comments in an 8-hour block. Come on, Deity Free D, get over me. You know, what kind of an arrogant piece of shit would even think? You know what? The only thing that I have against him is that, for one thing, he's an ass and he's a sexist pig, which those sexism really pisses me off more than anything else. But he's also, the Christian me is outraged. The Christian me is beyond livid that this man calls himself a Christian. So this is what I wrote in my next comment. The distressing, and I didn't write it to him, so I was still at 4. I have written him 4, at least 4. It was 4 comments today anyway. The distress, I think it was 5 with counting the first one that I did, not 10. The distressing thing for me, this asshole calls himself a Christian. I was a Christian for 35 years. I know what it is supposed to mean. I don't know why I said that. I'm getting a lisp. I'll start over. The distressing thing for me, this asshole calls himself a Christian. I was a Christian for 35 years. I know what it is supposed to mean. There really are Christians out there who have not lost that yet. And yet, as you say, the cult is dying, and it has nothing to do with atheism and everything to do with these steaming dung heaps that do nothing but strew their pull up their arses self-glorifying arrogance all over the net, turning people utterly cold, making them run the other way. Nothing serves the cause of free thinking and rational thought better than these repulsive characters. claiming themselves to be Christians and turning people off. This is not the Christianity I knew. It is like wine that has turned rancid. If there was a God or a Jesus, he'd be crying. Myself, I am reminded of a verse. You shall know them by their fruits. And Bible thumping, wingnut is one. Rotten. As an atheist, I am a better Christian than he will ever be. Seriously. There are atheists that have so much more class and integrity and just, I mean, this person is like beyond just apprehensible to me. I mostly ignore him. The only reason I even got involved again with this thing is because I was very impressed by Matt's video. And the first thing I saw when I scrolled down was this rather ugly avatar that he's chosen. Kind of looks like him too. And his snide little comment, and you know he didn't even watch Matt's video. And if he did, he's watching it like this. Because it's like his brain is in lock. He's not listening to a word anybody says. He's completely, and he repeats, it's like a doll with a string. He repeats the same bullshit over and over and over. So, yeah, I think he's like the worst. Christians like him are really doing atheism a huge favor. They really are. Because the people that look to the Christians to see what what do they see? Especially on YouTube, they see a lot of assholes like this guy. He just happens to be one of the worst ones, but there's a lot of them. And hey, you know what? That's what represents Jesus Christ. That's what represents his so-called loving, accepting religion of peace. These people that strut around and they're so amazingly arrogant. They seem to think they know what the God of the universe is thinking or what the God of the universe wants. They seem to think they know what other people are thinking or believe. They judge everybody, and according to the Christianity I was raised up on, judging is not what you do. That is not what a Christian does. It makes me angry. It makes me angry, and at the same time, it's like, good. Because, you know what? It's like the snake eating its tail. This thing is going to kill itself. Atheism is certainly helping it along. Science is helping it along. The internet is helping it along. But I think the biggest force that is causing people to be turned off by this cult are people like this. People like this, calling themselves Christians. I don't... It makes you feel, the taste when you in the back of your throat you feel like you're going to throw up. That's what it's like. That's the impression of Christianity that these people leave in people. It's doing free thinking a huge favor. It's serving the cause of free thinking. It's showing people that are on the fence. Oh God. This is what it's going to turn me into? Maybe I'll rethink this. So I just wanted to make a post, a video about it. I'm going to go back to ignoring him because he does just infuriate me. Sexism is, I don't know if I'm a feminist, but I'm a real proponent to women being equal human beings. Equal, not superior. Not deserving special consideration or special treatment. Just equal human beings. Emotionally, men and women are different. We're not the same, but we're still equal human beings. We make up this thing called humanity. Two parts to a whole. We're equal human beings. And I saw a thing on Facebook that said, what women desire most, or what women want most is someone to desire them. I don't think so. I read the comments under that. I posted mine. It seemed to me that the most common one that I saw was respect. Women are just like men. We want respect. We post up our opinion of something. We would like to be responded to like a human being, not like some stupid, oh, you should just get over me. Ah. It's like, really? That's all you can do? If anything, that insults men, because, it's like you can't even talk to me on an intellectual same playing field. The only way you can talk to a woman is talk down to them. That, to me, that like is a cover-up of some serious insecurities this guy has. Maybe he has never mind. I won't say. Anyway, I just had to vent. I was just, really makes me angry that this asshole can be this way. And the sad thing, he's an old fart. He's old like me. I highly doubt he's going to ever change. He's always going to be a swaggering asshole with a thinks he's hot stuff, and he's the opposite of what a Christian should be. And that's funny, because he calls himself a Christian. I don't like to stoop to saying he's not a real Christian, because who is really? But the Christianity that I was brought up on doesn't remotely resemble this man. Not even remotely. So, anyway, if you've been watching, thanks.